Hello, guys. Welcome to another episode of the Minority Advantage, where black and brown people come to get a leg up into a six-figure career. So today I have with me Benedict. Benedict is a Splunk consultant. He's going to tell us a few things that can help us get into the six figures, how you can start your journey in Splunk and then get into those crazy numbers. Ben, how are you doing today?
LV, so I'm doing good. I'm doing good, and glad to have myself here and speaking with you is definitely a pleasure here. So,
Thank you for joining us. I like your lighting though.
all right.
Crazy.
Hey, I tried for you.
Okay, I want you to start with your background. Just tell me how you grew up, where you grew up, and how it was growing up.
Yeah, sure. So again, originally I'm from Ghana, Accra, Ghana, right? And grew up with both parents, mom and dad. We had our grandma with us and a few siblings. I have five siblings and three cousins. And those are the folks I grew up around, right? Just the immediate ones. And upbringing was heavily Christian focused in the home. Mostly I was doing mostly choir rehearsals and singing. And I didn't do much or go out much as a kid. Definitely, I delve my life mostly into computers and also soccer, right, with friends around. And I guess that speaks or tells the reason why I love working with computers, which I think we'll get more into. I could clearly remember, daddy sitting me down and my sister, basically practicing Mavis Bacon almost 3 hours, right, just to learn how to type. So, yeah, that's basically a little background about me. I moved here to the States for college, and my journey, my professional journey basically began from there.
Oh, okay. So you moved to the States for college. You weren't in the States prior to that. So you came here for college. And what did you study in college?
Yeah, so like I said, right, I've always been intrigued with computers. Initially, when I came, I was a biology major. So I started
Mhm.
with biology because, again, growing up as a kid, I really didn't know what I really wanted to do. So thinking, okay, I wanted to be a medical doctor, but I guess it didn't really go well because I read an article actually, and it was a life of a medical doctor, right? And I basically compared that to myself, and I made that honest judgment and said, okay, you know what? Let me drop biology. It's definitely going to be a long journey. Looking at a family home, we probably don't even have that amount of money, right, to to pay through medical school. Um, and yeah, I just made that decision and switched to computer science. Again, my mom wasn't really happy about that. She definitely didn't get to know about that until later. The very end of the course. That's when I told her. My dad, he's totally fine with it. So I did my bachelor's in computer science at Clayton State. Definitely very good school, very small. I met a couple of my friends there. I met yourself, Elvis, there. And then currently doing my master's in computer science at Georgia Tech. Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's a cute story there. Mavis Beacon especially. I mean, I haven't heard Mavis Beacon in a while. So for you, what jobs did you hold before, let's say, you got into Splunk? We'll get into that. We'll get into that, and we'll get you talking into how people can get into it
Right.
and how people can get successful into it. But before Splunk, what kind of jobs did you hold? Maybe throughout college and stuff like that. What kind of jobs did you hold?
Well, I never did any work or did any job while I was back in Ghana. So, like I said, my professional life started here in the States. And I started as a student assistant at Clayton State. So, again, I was making minimum wage at that time. And, it was everything to me. Um, I got a little upgrade while at Clayton State. I started working with Clayton County Water Authority as an intern. And back then, it was a really tough life story over there, not being able to work, but finding a way to, at least make the check. Um, So I worked with Clayton County Water Authority for quite some time during my time in college. I think about 3 years or 2 years. It was almost, my entire life in college. And then I started a little business during my sophomore year. I started a little business where, I will basically go to people's houses and fix computers and help with website developments here and there. And at the very latter stage in my school, when I was at Clean State, that's when I actually applied to be an intern at Fiserv, right? It was a financial institution, and I actually, luckily, I was, selected after a few issues here and there. Initially, I wasn't, even, I didn't have much experience. I didn't know nothing about systems engineering, so it was really hard for me to even get my foot in the door, right? They needed someone, even as an intern, to know certain things, and I didn't have none of those skills, right? So basically, um, I did my best, right? I called the guy that interned me, the guy that actually interviewed me. He had messaged me back stating that I didn't qualify for the position. And I messaged him back and then clearly told him that, I know I'm not qualified for the position because they are looking for certain skills that I don't have, right? But I can assure him that if I'm given the opportunity for this 3 months or 6 months internship, I can definitely make something good come out of it. And the guy who actually got selected the first time, I think he was doing a background check and things didn't go right. So the second option was me, and they selected me. And when I was in the company, I felt and realized that most of these things are, they're not rocket science. I mean, it's things that I could actually do. So I started working as an intern, and they really loved my enthusiasm and work there. So they actually, gave me certain projects, threw those projects at me, and I was able to actually handle those projects pretty well. And that's actually where my professional journey started.
Wow, wow, that's an incredible story. So you almost didn't get the job there. You actually didn't get the job. It was a actually you had to message them to see what went wrong and stuff like that. So that was good initiative on your part, actually.
Yeah, yeah. I literally picked up my phone and messaged the guy and told him, hey, I definitely know you're telling me I'm not qualified because I don't have the skills, but you like my personality, so just give me that chance, right? And I think it was a month later, and then I head back from them, and I was pretty excited at that time to start.
Okay. That's great. So can you tell us about some of the challenges you've been through, when it comes to getting a job or starting your career since you got here? What are some of the challenges you've been through?
Well, the first thing is definitely the skill set, right? The skill set and skill sets, these companies are looking for specific skills that someone should have, and you normally don't get those trainings in college, right? You will get some of them, but not everything, right? You don't get majority of them, especially the hands-on experience. And again, maybe I just didn't know what I was doing in college, as taking some of these classes. But majority of the time, these companies need you to have certain skills, and if you don't have them, it's really hard for you to get your foot in the door, right? And that's one thing I learned like really quick, and I was able to figure things out from there, right? So now I'm going for a job. I know what to look for, right? I have actually planned ahead before even applying for the job because I know, okay, they're definitely looking for someone with this skill set. So how do I attain this skill set to be able to get this job, right? So that was I think one of my biggest challenge.
So that's definitely a professional challenge right there. What about any personal challenges?
Well, personal challenges as well. Before, I would say you definitely need some sort of persistency, which wasn't a problem for me. So some people might have that as see that as a problem. They might not have that persistent spirit in them, right? So that definitely wasn't that much of a challenge for me. Another challenge that I've actually seen out there is being confident. Also, when you're looking for a job, right? again, yeah, I understand that you definitely don't know what you're doing. You're trying to get in as an entry level, but companies are definitely looking for someone who has confidence, right, in what they do. Right? So if you can at least show them that little confidence that you have or that persistency, right, it definitely travels a long way. Um, those are some of the challenges. It's not personal to me. I was just throwing those out there because
Yeah.
I've noticed that, trying to talk to folks here and there.
Oh, okay. Let's get into Splunk because I know that's why many people will be listening. Splunk, how people can get started in Splunk and how people can start making some money in Splunk. So the first question is it possible to hit six figures learning Splunk?
Okay, yeah. So definitely, I can give you a little background about Splunk, and let's say I can tell you a little bit about my current job, and it's definitely something pretty difficult, right? So it could lead you to that six figure you're talking about.
Yeah.
So currently, I focus in advanced security analytics, which is Splunk. Yeah, we use Splunk as a SIM, and I focus heavily on SIM implementation, right? So I will help companies with the planning, the architecture of enterprise security, and also user behavior analytics tools. Basically, some companies also trying to help them migrate from existing SIM tools or SIM solution, right, and helping them operationalize, let's say, threat intels and detect how to detect threats and external attacks, right? So basically, on a high level, all of this on a high level is to help minimize risk and safeguard business for that company, right? And
So would you say Splunk is a security tool or an analytics tool? How would you describe Splunk?
it's an analytics tool, right? But it depends on how it's being used, right? So you can use it for security. Business folks can use it for other sort of analysis. IT will use it for something totally different. You can see database folks also using it for something completely different, right? So it's basically an analytics tool, right? But my focus has heavily been on SIM implementation, basically.
What is SIM implementation?
It's security incident and event management tools, right?
Okay,
So
okay.
you have let's take an example. You have Google. You definitely want to put in place some sort of monitoring when someone is trying to there's some sort of external attack on Google. They should be able to detect those things, right? So
In
that's
real time, in real time.
in real time as well. Yeah, in real time. Yep, in real time.
Okay, okay. So for Splunk, what would you say the entry role, the entry level role, what would you say the name of the role is, and how much can you make as an entry level Splunk user? I don't know what the role is. So what is it, and how much do you think you can make?
Right. Yep. So unfortunately, there's not entry level in Swarm. That's the funny part. But recently, I've seen some companies actually putting out some junior roles out there, and just the fact that I said there's no entry level doesn't mean that you cannot go into it, right? Because the reason I'm saying that is it requires you to have certain skills, right, for you to be able to actually use the tool. The tool itself is fairly easy to use or understand, right? But at least you need some networking experience, you need some security experience, some database. So it depends on what scope or area you're trying to focus on. Um, for an entry level, some companies are calling it Splunk or junior Splunk engineer. Some companies will call it Splunk engineer, which will normally be sort of a senior role. Some companies will call it some systems engineering do that as well. And then there's also, Splunk consultants. But for entry level, I would say it's going to be either Splunk engineer or junior Splunk engineer or security engineer, right? Or even a security analyst, right? A security analyst can also, yeah, a security analyst will actually be an entry level.
Okay, so let's stick to your path, right? Let's stick to your path and how you got to where you are. So for Splunk, for example, what would you say the junior role for your path? What would you say the the starting salary will be?
Well, the starting salary um, in the state of Georgia, right? It depends on every state, but at least in the state of Georgia, we're looking at something around low hundreds, right? You can low hundreds to maybe mid hundreds, right? Um,
The starting salary?
yeah, that's normally so like that's what I said earlier, right? It's very hard to find an entry level Splunk, um, but that will normally be the start range, right? If it's something like, let's say, security analyst, you can aim for, like, let's say, a 90,000 range.
Wow, that's amazing.
Right, yeah, you can aim for those things. It's as soon as, if it has Splunk in it, right? If it has, because it's a hot tool, right? It's one of the hot tools out there. So if it has Splunk in it, it has machine learning in it, you definitely can fight for that range.
Okay, so I'm new. I'm new to Splunk. I'm new to all of this stuff. I don't have a computer science degree. I don't know anything about computer science.
Right.
How long would you think it will get me to start using Splunk and become a junior Splunk analyst or security analyst?
Oh yeah. So that's also a little subjective, right? Because it depends on the person, how fast they can understand the
Yeah, on
tool.
average. So on average,
On average, okay. So on an average, I would say, based on experience and people I've worked with, right? Because I try to mentor folks here as well. I try to teach on the side, just to help people around me, family and friends, get into um, the Splunk world as well. So on the average, you're looking around, let's say, 3 months to 5 months, right? 3 months to 5 months. At least that can get you your foot in the door.
so you're telling me in 3 months to 5 months,
Yeah.
I can start Splunk without having any background, without having any degree. I can start Splunk and make around $90,000 in 3 to 5 months.
Yep. So there's few things you have to consider here, right? In 3 to 5 months, let's assume you're learning Splunk. You want to focus on very specific things. If I should get a job right now, what am I going to do? What would I do, like in my workplace, right? So normally when I'm mentoring or helping or teaching most of these things, I try to be, mimic more of like a corporate setting where, if you should get a job right now, you know what the environment should look like, you know what you're going to be doing, you know your day to day, what you should expect, right? So we set those expectations right up front, right?
Wow, wow. So basically, if they basically what you're saying is if they can get comfortable with the tool within 3 to 5 months, they should be able to make 90,000 in 5 months. That means that in about a year you could be making six figures.
Oh yeah, and the thing is, like I said earlier on, it's very subjective because it depends on the person, right? On an average, that's what I just gave you. But if it's someone who is not very persistent, they are very relaxed, they are not doing their due diligence, right? It could take them some time, right? They're looking at that 5 months gap for those people, and even maybe more, right? But if it's someone who is very, consistent, right? The key word there is consistency, right? You're very consistent with learning to acquire that skills, and being able to practice, do more of the hands-on work. Yeah, I mean, in 3 to 5 months, you should be able to pick up and get in there, right? I've seen folks who did it in less than a month. I've worked with folks who did it in 5 months, less than 6 months. I've worked with guys who were a little, didn't have any experience in Splunk, no experience in IT, and they were still able to do it in less than 6 months, right? So,
Okay, so my question for you here, I just want a simple answer on this. So my question here is, do I need to know how to code to Splunk? That is one. And do I need a computer science degree? Two.
okay. No, so those are just plus, right? Those are just additions. If you have them, that's great. You don't need them, right? If that simply answers that question, right? If you have them, it's great, but you don't need them, because you don't have to know how to code, or you don't have to be a pro coder to be able to work in the Splunk world. You don't have to have a computer science degree. At least, two folks, three folks that I actually worked with, they don't have any degree, right? But they're doing really good. They're doing very good.
So they neither have a degree nor a computer science degree. I mean, they don't even have a degree. How much more a computer science degree? And they were able to get there within a year.
Yep.
That is incredible. That is incredible. Would you say
Plus, right? Degree will be a plus for you, but it's not needed.
okay? So would you say there's still a lot of room in that space for other people to get into? And do you think minorities, black people and brown people, stand a chance of coming in and making those same numbers within a year?
Oh yeah. There's definitely no racism in that world, all right? And it's like a really hot tool, like I told you. Um, they've been very diverse. Yeah, I mean myself, I've never, faced any sort of racism, but you can definitely, regardless of your color, right, or race, you can definitely get into that world. There's no race tagging on the job titles, right? You can definitely get into that world and be successful.
Okay, so before I let you go, I have two more questions for you. I have to give my followers the TMA steps to six figures, right? The short minority advantage steps to six figures. So the question to you is, if you were to
Right.
start all over again, afresh, knowing what you currently know, can you give us a few steps with resources as to how you will go about it to um, to get your first six-figure job?
Yeah. So a few things that I will do personally, and I've learned this in the past, right? Is one, um, I will look for, this is what I will normally do. I will identify skills that employers are looking for. Sorry, employers. Right. As soon as I identify those skills, one, you want to have certifications. Those skills on the broad, you can basically Google those skills, learn more about those skills, right? Even if you don't know about those skills, read about those skills. You can use LinkedIn Learning, you can use YouTube. There's so many tools out there, right? You can find mentors that can tell you more about those skills, right? And learn about those skills. Just learn about those skills. And the second thing is you can find your certifications relating to those skills.
So right now, you have been there, you've done that, you know what those skills are. So what are those skills that you are looking for in that first step?
Well, in that first step, yeah, the one skill is definitely personal skill is going to be persistency, right? A skill that you're looking for in a job in the Splunk world is going to be, you're looking at, let's say, a little Python skill, a little Linux skill, a little scripting skill. You don't have to be an expert, and all the skills that I'm mentioning here, you just need, let's say, 3%, 3%, yeah, 3% of the skills, right? So you don't have to have 100% of those skills. Just get 3% of those skills and start with that 3%, right? Be very realistic, right? Just start with those 3%. You don't need more than three, right? Just know, at least know about that skill, right? And if
So
you're
you
able,
need to know about that skill, but because Python is coding.
right? Yeah, but see, I've talked to people. You mentioned Python; they don't even know what Python is. Be able to at least tell me what Python is.
Okay, so you don't need to know how to code, you just need to know what Python is. You just need to know.
Yeah, just know about
Okay.
that's
You just need to know about Python, you need to know about scripting,
yeah,
and
yeah.
then what else did you mention?
Cloud resources like AWS. People don't even know that those things exist. At least know about them, right?
Okay, okay, okay. And then the second thing you said is certification.
Yep. Second piece is going to be certifications. So now that you know about these skills, right? You know what they are. It allows you to do a better research, right? Now you can do a research relating or a research on certifications relating to those skills, right? And don't flood yourself with so many certifications. At least start with two certifications at least to begin with, right?
So what two certifications will you go for?
So for Splunk, for instance, you definitely need at least a Linux background, right? So you look at something relating to Linux. There's a Linux Plus certification with all the different learning platforms out there, right? You can just find one, just take that Linux class, learn about beginner Linux, And the second one, there's a Splunk fundamental class out there, which used to be pretty expensive. It used to be 2,000, but it's free now, right? So you can go out there, register for that course, and take it. It's free. You can get certified for it. You go take the exam, you pass, you get certified for it, right? At least
Okay.
know about these skills, certify in these skills, right?
So for 2A, you mentioned for number two, you mentioned two things.
Yeah.
You mentioned Linux, and then you mentioned the Splunk certification. So with the Linux, I'll say that's 2A. So with that, you mentioned you can find a lot of resources. Which resource can you recommend they go to? So what I'm trying to do here is I'm trying to make this process as lean as possible for my listeners. I don't want them going out there looking through the bush, for so many things and then come out with one. I want somebody who's already been there, done that, to recommend some tools that they use and if they can follow suit. So where would you go for that Linux course or certification?
Right. So I would say definitely friends and family are one, right? You definitely want to reach out to friends and family that knows more about these tools. They can easily teach you, and that's the best teacher you can get. Cybery is another good one, right? LinkedIn Learning is a good one. If you don't want to pay, of course, YouTube is there, right? It's free. You can learn.
Which one would you recommend?
Well, I would recommend for Splunk, it's actually the Splunk site itself, right? So they have the classes on the Splunk site, but YouTube actually does, some small videos here and there to just get you an understanding of how the tool works. And Cybery, I would definitely recommend, and also LinkedIn Learning, I would recommend that as well.
For the Linux?
Yeah, for Linux, I would definitely recommend. They have really, really good lessons on LinkedIn Learning.
Oh, okay. Okay. So LinkedIn Learning for Linux, and then for the Splunk, you go to the Splunk's website, right?
Splunk's website. You can also use Udemy, right? But Splunk's website actually is free, right? Like I said, the fundamentals one is free. Used to be 2,000 grand, 2 grand, but it's free now, right? So you definitely want to go through their site, and then you can get that.
That's a lot of money.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah,
Wow.
those certifications can definitely be very expensive, but
Very pricey.
knowing where to start from and going to the price, that's a good point there, right? The reason I'm saying you learn just this a little few of these things, once you're able to get your door get into the company or start working with someone, all this corporate world, most of them have this courses they can pay for, right? So some of them are partners, some of them are, they have educational credits that you can use. So you go in and then you make sure you use those things, right? You make sure you use them because they are there for you to help you grow and develop, right? So yeah,
Okay, so you mentioned the first step. Just just read about AWS, about cloud infrastructure, read about scripting, read about Python. You don't really need to get hands on. You just need to read about them, have some knowledge about them. The
correct.
second thing you want to do is to first go to LinkedIn Learning
Mhm.
and learn Linux. Later, I'll get all these resources and then type them down for guys to for people to be able to reference. I don't know if there's any particular LinkedIn course that you know or have in mind. I will ask you that, and I'll also put that in the description.
Yeah,
And then 2B, you go to the Splunk website, you take that Splunk beginner certification, which used to be $2,000, which is now free. So please take advantage of that. I mean, for 2,000 grand, that's ridiculous, especially for an entry level certification. So you want to take advantage of that now that it's free. Is there any other step you go?
well, like I said, definitely if you know friends and family in that space, you want to definitely reach out to them, right?
Use them as resource. Yes.
You want to reach out to them. um,
Can my listeners reach out to you on LinkedIn or anything like that? Can they reach out to you?
Oh yeah, yeah, for sure. I will definitely give you my LinkedIn, and they can definitely reach out anytime. Like I said, I do have a class currently going on just to help grow people and develop. folks that want to get, into the want to get into the corporate world, right? I have a course that I normally would teach, um, and it's currently going on, and it has helped a lot of folks, right? To
Okay, so I will definitely put your link in there as well if they want to sign up for the course. That will also be helpful. Are those the steps, or you have a few others to add?
Well, if they're able to join the class, I can definitely help them with so many other resources because I have resources that normally, whenever someone joins, I have all the certifications and all the resources that they need. It's on my shared drive. I share those things with them. It has labs, and those are like Splunk. You have to actually take the classes before you get those materials. So I share those things with them. I have like recordings in the past. I share those as well. And the good thing about this is, people join is free. Our pricing model, man, is free, man. You only pay once you get a job. You can beat that.
That's amazing. That's actually a good pricing model for people who want to start, because some people just don't have the money, right? So that is good, and you can get people ready. That's again if they are serious.
Yeah,
You can get them ready in 5 6 months.
yeah, yeah. It's a proven.
That's
It's proven. So we definitely have like very high confidence in it.
that's great. That's awesome. That's awesome. So final question for you before I let you go. What do you think as a race, as black people, we can do to improve our quality of life? You know how it is, especially the minimum wage affects more black people than most other races. Most black people are making minimum wages. The average salary for black people, it's not even up to 60,000. I think it's about 45,000. So what do you think we can do as a race to improve our quality of life?
Yeah, so one thing I always see in the black race, right, is they set their bar really low, right? Um, I always say it set a very high bar, but make it more realistic and attainable, right? Um, when I first came to this country, I told myself that, something that if I'm not going to do something that I wouldn't do in Ghana, I would not do it here, right? If you tell me to go clean the floor here, to make a living, I'm not going to do it, right? Because again, back home, I would not do it, right? And so try to set that bar, right? If you definitely want to be successful in what you do, once you set that bar, have some realistic goals around it and make those goals attainable, right? Um, if you become successful in what you do in the race, if you can become a mentor and help one another, that's definitely something I always evangelize about, right? Become a mentor to someone, teach someone, help someone, right? Help a brother, man. Have a common vision as a race as well. If we have
Yeah.
a common vision, I think you'll be able to, and also network a lot, right? Network, get to know more about people, and getting to know more about people actually will help you a lot, right? Because you might be in a really comfortable state right now, but getting to know more about a friend might change your perspective about things, right? So you definitely want to network and get to know more about people, not their personal life, but at least their professional life if that's what you're trying to develop in, right?
Thank you very much, Ben. Thank you for all the nuggets you've given us. I know people have learned a lot. Guys, use those resources he mentioned. I'm going to put them in the description. Use those resources, get certified, and become a Splunk engineer. And in no time, you'll be part of the six-figure club. Also, if you know that this is something that's going to be difficult for you, if you need some accountability, make sure to sign up for one of his classes. Make sure you sign up for one of his classes. There's no excuse not to sign up for the class. You basically there's no risk on your part. You go do it. If you do well and you get a job, then you pay for it. If you don't get a job and you drop out, you've dropped out. But like I said, go there with the intention of going to do it, and go full force and get that certification and get that money, guys. So until next time.
Yeah, and Elvis, before you wrap it up, some
Yeah.
questions that always come up with that is, people will come learn, but they might think they're not ready for an interview, right? That's also a part of it. So we'll normally go through interview processes with you. We'll show you or teach you some of the questions that you should expect, right? And almost 90% of the time, it has worked, right? So
Great. So that's something most people don't do. They only teach you the material and then you go away. So you're going to get interview marathons in, right? So before you even get to the real interview session, he's already briefed you on what you need to do and all of that stuff. So guys, this was another good episode. Make sure to follow through on your dreams, and until next time.